there. Today doesn't suck, Calvin. It doesn't suck.
Double play.
Pick yours up a little bit higher. There you go. It doesn't suck. There we go. Poor Calvin. Calvin, we don't mean to give you a hard time, bud. We kind of mean to give you a hard time. For you guys that don't know, Calvin, he's at home sick. I had Mr. Harry on the boat today. Calvin has been following my channel since the very beginning. Calvin came down and fished with me. He brought Mr. Harry, made the introduction. He was supposed to come today. Calvin was at home, sick on the couch. Hey, let's hit the comments and tell Calvin, get better, man, because he's actually legitimately sick. So, Calvin, get better. We thought about you all day, said some things about you. It was mostly like, man, I hope Calvin gets better. But Calvin, get better. So this week, I'm stuck in Matagorda, as all y'all that follow my channel know. I'm off Thanksgiving, and then I'm back here until mid-December. But I've had some customers this week that were gracious enough to let me bring the camera. A lot of my commentary today is going to be on the water. We're fishing birds. If you stay to the end of the video, there's some big redfish caught. I show you the difference between redfish birds and trout birds. I kicked the video right off the bat, showing you how to boat flip fish. I see some really scary stuff a lot and how people handle their rods and how they do that. So the action can get fast and furious on these birds, and you know, you're trying to get that fish in the boat so you can catch another one. So it's a quick and easy way how to boat flip a fish. But number one, when you're out on the water, you're running around in your boat, you're looking for birds. We talked about it last week. If there's a group of birds out there and there's a guy already on them, unless you know that guy, you know, leave them alone. Go find your own. Definitely don't run over the group of birds that the guy's fishing. Please, please. So right off the bat, we talked about how, you know, the low winds, the clear skies, all that is good for the birds. Whenever I'm out, the number one thing I like to see is the group of birds working, but I want to see them dipping down and grabbing stuff off of the water. Now, we caught a lot of fish this week off of birds that are just sitting around. The reason they're sitting around is they've recently got done feeding on, you know, what the fish are pushing up and giving to them, and now they're waiting to see it again. You know, you'll see it if you're out here enough. You'll see it to where the birds are sitting around and they all get up and go fly over and go back to work. So when you come across a group of birds that's sitting, you can drift through them and pick up fish. We did it quite a bit. But the number one thing is whenever they're reaching down and dipping and grabbing. Now, the number one key to this, and listen close here, the number one key is when that bird comes down and grabs something off the water, you want your lure right under that bird. If you cast 10 feet to the right, 10 feet to the left, if it's a little tight group of fish, you're not going to catch those fish. If it's a looser group, you might catch one now and then. If you put it right under that bird, your odds are exponentially better. So when that bird reaches down and grabs something, cast right under it. All right, we got another group right here in front of us. They're dipping down, doing their thing. I just wanted to catch a fish real quick. I want to show you guys how to boat flip a fish, because I see some really scary stuff when I'm guiding and when Wilson's fishing. All right, so look, when you boat flip a fish, don't ever grab your rod up here. Don't use your rod to deadlift him in. And this doesn't matter if it's a little trout or a big redfish. Let me put my power poles down. All you do, take your rod, point it at the fish, okay? And then use your line and your reel to bring the fish in. Do not use your rod. And definitely, you don't grab it up here to pull it in, because you're putting a pressure point right here, and that's where your rod's gonna break. So that's where I see it a lot with, you know, working with Laguna and everything, to where people say, I caught this little 12-inch trout and my rod broke. Well, you know, how you handle that rod, it plays off in the long term. Every time you do it and it doesn't break, you're still putting a weak spot in it, potentially. But since these birds are on shrimp, I'm just throwing this little rat tail and I'm popping it like it's a shrimp running. So I threw over there, didn't get any bites. I'm not gonna work it all the way back to the boat. I'm gonna bring it in and send it back where I'm seeing fish at. This guy, he's gonna run right through us because that's the cool thing to do. That never helps. It's not even a Saturday. This bay's like 7 miles wide and 23 miles long, but sometimes they need to run through you to get there, you know? Well, it sure broke that group up, didn't it? Watch out, hook sets are free. All right, so the birds moved to our right, and instead of chasing them around behind them, what we're doing is moving back upwind to cut them off and then come back to the school as quiet as we possibly can. Right here in this area, the water held up okay, and so that's what made Wilson and I come check this out. But all the rules for the rest of the year that I really like to follow, they're out the window right now. You know, we've had a, man, you should catch a fish on that one. If you don't, get it back in and send it back. But, you know, like I said, bluebird skies, you know, awkward wind, everything, it doesn't matter to me right now. I'm just gonna try to find some clean water, find something like this going on. Send it back. So it might be better, Wilson, to kind of hold your cast until you see them dip. There you go. That looked like a decent one. Yeah, good fish. Another good fish. Hey. You know it's windy whenever it's blowing your rod off the boat. Now, I say I don't care about wind and stuff. Steve, however, cares. Steve, does this suck? Please take me home. Now we've talked about this before. When the birds are real high, they're making racket and they're going down and dipping and grabbing, that's typically trout. Now, Mr. Harry and I had an instance today, didn't get it on video because I got to fish a little bit myself, where we threw under the trout and caught 2 really nice redfish. But usually when they're up high and they're dipping down and grabbing and making a bunch of noise, and by high I'm talking, you know, 10, 15 feet, that's typically going to be trout. Now, there's also the conception out there that there's only dinks under birds, and in some bait systems that can be a little bit more true than others. And in my bait system, you can catch some good fish under here. Today, on Monday or Tuesday, I lose track, I had Mike from Texas Fishing Force on my channel. If you don't know about his channel, he's nearing 10,000 subscribers. Go check it out. It's good stuff. He's very similar to me. We're kind of running in a parallel where we want to help you. We're not just showing you how many fish we can catch. Neither one of us are really into, you know, giving away spots. We're here to help you find your own spots. But not always dinks under the trout. I mean, under the birds. So you see some birds, stop and check them out. Well, between my boat coming by and that other boat circling us and making all these wakes, it tends to make them zip around like that a little bit. But see how those redfish that we saw earlier, the birds were like real low and hovering close, and then with these trout, they're higher and diving? I've never seen them do this on redfish, and I've never seen the trout birds hover real low like when they're on redfish. See those 2 hovering right in front of you, Chance? There you go. There. What you got there, Mike? That's a solid one. Got old Mike from Texas Fishing Force on the boat today. Yeah. It's a little known fact that Mike's one of my best friends. Sometimes he just, knock and tell. That's not a DOA. It can't catch fish. It's not a DOA.
That's a solid fish.
Hey, that's a good fish.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, good fish. Now, I think it was yesterday I had Mr. Miller and Marcus. I don't know what Mr. Miller's first name was. Where in my raising, his first name is Mr. But I had Mr. Miller and Marcus on the boat. Marcus had thrown lures before, but he didn't have a lot of experience with them. Now, if I've said it once, I've said it a million times. If you want to get good with artificials, corkies, topwaters, anything, you put yourself into a position for a high percentage chance to catch fish, and you use that lure. If you've got a bunch of fish with you and you're fishing with bait and you aspire to fish with lures, throw the bait away, grab some lures, and put in the time right now. Myself, I learned how to fish corkies by going down to the lower Laguna where the water was gin clear. I could see the lure, I could see how it was working. There were a ton of fish. I don't think any of them were over this long, but there was a bunch of them, and I threw it and threw it and threw it and threw it until I caught enough fish that I was confident that, hey, I know how to work this lure, I know how to catch fish. So then when it was tougher, whenever you were grinding, then that you've caught enough fish with that lure that you're not mentally blocking yourself. So if you get a chance to go out and fish these birds, or any of the things I'm going to be showing you in the next couple of months, it's a great time to get confident with what it is you're wanting to use.
Well, this is Marcus and Mr. Miller. Marcus, is this your first day to throw lures?
I would say it's my first time catching lures.
First time to catch fish with lures. Well, we're kind of cheating today, I think.
It's a good day to learn with lures.
It's a great day to learn with lures. We talk about that all the time, where if you're new to lures, find a day where you have high percentage chances to catch a bunch of fish and get your confidence in them. Then on days when it's slower, you don't have that mental block in your head that, I need bait. I can't catch them on lures, because in fact you can. It's just slower, and you have to work a little bit harder for it. Today, we're not working very hard for it. If you don't catch one pretty quick, just reel it back and send it to him again. All right, Marcus got one on.
I guess that counts as pretty quick, huh?
That counts as pretty quick. And if you think you got a big one, let me know. I will drop this camera and grab a net. Oh! Dad got one too. Hey, you're gonna have to hold that sand trout up for me. That's one of the better sand trout you're gonna see. Yeah, look at this thing. Look at that sandy. There you go. Now that's a chunk of a sand trout, if I ever saw one. What you got, Dad?
Speck, another speck.
Oh, Dad got a speck.
Awesome.
No species is safe around the Miller family. Meet the Millers. Hey, we're meeting the Millers. I bet y'all have never heard that before.
You find that school of redfish with the birds hovering low, and in this instance we could actually see the fish. When you're out trout fishing in that deeper 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 feet of water, whatever it is, you can get away with being a little bit noisier. You can move your boat around. With the redfish, I find that you need to be a lot stealthier and a lot quieter. So what I was doing is the redfish were actually moving perpendicular to us, and instead of crashing up to them and then following them, I took a path to cut them off to where I could get around them without a bunch of hole slap, without a bunch of crashing, without my trolling motor making a bunch of noise, and getting in front of them. And in many instances what I'll do is I'll get in front of them and I'll power pole down and let them come to me. So that's really important with redfish. The next thing is you do not want to cast in the middle of that school of redfish. You do not want to hit one in the back. You really don't even want to catch one out of the middle of it, because what happens is you hook him and he goes crazy and he blows the whole school out. Sometimes you can catch them off of the edges and pull that fish away, as we did, and I don't know if Mike used the clip or not, but Mike and I were doing it a couple of days ago. We were catching them off the edge and the school was staying together. Throw out in front and let the leader get to it and catch him. Don't put your lure in the middle of those fish. If you cast too far in front, watch those fish. If they're going to be coming to it, maybe you can get lucky and hop it as they get there. If not, bring it in and send it back. Don't put it on the fish. Put it on the leaders, or maybe something around the edge if you can't get the leaders. Never in the middle. Be quiet, be more stealthy with these redfish, and you're going to see success with them.
All right, so like I told you guys, with the redfish, the birds are going to sit a lot lower and hover like that, and they're usually a lot quieter. Where with the trout, the videos I've showed you, they get up high and they come down, but the redfish is a totally different bird activity. Mr. Harry and I have been out catching trout all morning, and then get to come do this. This is a special day when this happens.
Birthday day.
Yeah, it's my birthday. Today's my birthday. For my birthday, I get to watch Harry catch fish. All right, gives him a couple twitches. They're on it. Got him?
Got it.
There you go. It doesn't sound like a baby.
Nope.
There we go. Got him.
All right.
Oh, wait, that's a toad, sir.
That is a fat son of a gun.
That is a toad. He's too big to take home to mama. Mr. Harry, being the conservation that he is, decided we can let him go. We're gonna set him in there real nice. This fish was 27 1/4 and almost 9 pounds. So off he goes. So big thanks to Mr. Harry for putting that one back for another day.
He was thick.
That's firsthand footage of, you know, how the birds look, how we fish them. You know, what a day with me is like in November. November fills up fast. If you want to fish next November, get with me, you know, way before November. But thanks to everybody that wished me a happy birthday. It was a great day. I got to catch some big fish. Obviously, I can't record and fish. I tried it. It doesn't work. But hey, thanks for everybody. Calvin, hope you get better. Be sure and send Calvin a nice message in the comments, and we will catch you on the next one.